Welcome. You have now entered the Haunted Library. This is where we tell scary stories inspired by you, our viewers. We know that everyone loves a good scare, and that's why we're here to bring you spine-tingling tales of horror and suspense. Each week we will take our prompts and turn them into stories that will keep you up at night. From ghostly apparitions to monsters lurking in the shadows, we'll bring your ideas to life and take you on a journey into the unknown. We'll introduce you to characters that will both terrify and intrigue you, and transport you to worlds that are both familiar and otherworldly. Our stories are not for the faint of heart, but for those who crave the thrill of the unknown. So, if you have an idea for a scary story that you want to see come to life, share it with us. Let us bring your darkest imaginings to life and take you on a journey that will leave you breathless. Put your ideas in the comments below. As soon as little Sarah was born, everyone knew there was something different about her. She had a strange, almost otherworldly quality to her, and she seemed to have an innate knowledge of things that no baby should know. When Sarah was around 7 years old, her family woke up in the middle of the night with Sarah standing at the foot of her bed, her eyes black as night. They tried to speak to her, but she wouldn't respond. Instead, continuing to stare at them with an expression that was both cold and evil. As they watched in horror, they noticed that the room around them was changing. The walls started to warp and twist, taking on a sickly, organic quality. The air grew thick with a smell like burnt sulfur, and the temperature dropped so low that their breaths came out in puffs of steam. In the midst of all the chaos, Sarah's parents witnessed their daughter speak. But it wasn't her voice. Erdete ineninde. Parentes infidelis. Melodicum vobius et nam vestrum. Delibo de terra vivintium. Regis vobius dolore tormentum. Eternal supplicio dominante eret. It was a low growl, as if it was coming from a beast. They couldn't understand what she was saying, because it was in a different language. But with the limited amount of knowledge they had, they could tell it was Latin. All of a sudden they woke up, confused. They looked at each other. They remembered what their daughter said. It kept repeating itself on loop in their mind. Sarah's father went to his computer to find a translation, or find some meaning to what she said. Her father found what he was looking for. He didn't move, but stared at the screen, horrified at what he just read. Sarah's mom, seeing her husband lose all color in his face, went to look over his shoulder to see what he found. She gasped in disbelief. She read aloud. "Burn in fire, faithless parents. I curse you, and I will erase your name from the earth of the living. There will be pain and torment for you, and you will be damned by eternal punishment. You and all who are with you." They sat in silence for a moment, Sarah's mom sobbing as she stood up and walked away. Not knowing what to do, they just figured they would keep an eye on her. As she grew older, her parents witnessed her talking to herself, carrying on full conversations with someone who wasn't there. They assumed it was just a phase, but they soon discovered that there was more to it than that. One day, when Sarah was 8 years old, her parents found her sitting in her room, talking to a strange figure. They couldn't see who it was, but they could feel a cold energy emanating from it. As they approached, the figure disappeared, and Sarah turned to them and with a smile on her face.
"That's my friend,"
she said.
"He's always with me."
Her parents were understandably concerned, but Sarah seemed happy and healthy, so they let it go. But as time went on, they began to notice more and more strange occurrences in their home. Objects would move on their own, and strange noises would echo through the halls. It wasn't until Sarah's 10th birthday that they discovered the truth. They found her in the backyard talking to a figure that was beautiful to the human eye. As they continued to look, it was as if this figure was a mirage. They were getting quick glimpses of a horrific beast, as if he was hiding behind a mask. As they kept watching, it was as if the deceptive mask was lifted, and they knew that he was unmistakably the devil himself. Sarah seemed happy and content, but her parents were terrified. They tried to take her away from the devil, but he wouldn't let go. He promised them that Sarah was safe with him, and that he would take care of her. And so, Sarah continued to spend time with her friend. He would visit her in her dreams, whispering secrets and promises of power and wealth. She would often talk to him for hours on end, giggling and laughing as if he were just another child. But as time went on, her parents noticed that Sarah was changing. She became distant and cold, almost robotic in her behavior. Her eyes would sometimes glow with a strange energy, and she seemed to have a power over others. One day, Sarah's parents got out of bed to start their day. Sarah's dad went to go and wake her up, but as he turned on the light, she was gone. They searched the house frantically, under beds, in closets, cabinets, the home office, but she was nowhere to be found. As they were about to call the police, they heard a strange noise coming from the backyard. When they went outside, they found Sarah sitting on the grass, surrounded by a group of demons. Demons surrounding Sarah were a motley crew of dark and twisted beings, each one more horrifying than the last. There was a hulking figure with skin as black as coal and eyes that glowed like embers. His body was covered in spikes and tendrils that could mean the end to anyone caught in its grasp, and he radiated a sense of darkness. Another demon was thin and skeletal, with razor-sharp claws and a mouth filled with rows of razor-sharp teeth. It moved with an unsettling grace, its eyes flickering with an eerie light. A third demon was covered in a thick, oily fur, with long tentacles that writhed and twisted around its body. Its eyes were empty, black voids, and its breath came in ragged gasps. As Sarah's parents watched, in horror, more demons began to appear, each one more twisted and terrifying than the last. They surrounded her, whispering secrets and promises of power and wealth. The devil himself stood at the center of the group, holding Sarah's hand and guiding her through the darkness. His eyes were deep and hypnotic, and his voice was smooth as honey. Together, they formed a terrifying presence, a force of darkness and evil that seemed to radiate from every inch of their beings. Her parents tried to run, but they were too late. Sarah had become one with the devil, and she was now part of his dark and twisted world. She would spend eternity with him, ruling over a realm of darkness and despair. As her parents watched in horror, they knew that they had lost their daughter forever. They had been too late to save her, and now she was lost to them forever. And as they turned to leave, they could feel the devil's presence lingering in the air, a reminder of the dark and twisted world that they had narrowly escaped. Sarah's dad was devastated to see his daughter lost in the devil, but he refused to give up on her. He knew he had to come up with a plan to save her, no matter what the cost.